you know, download my recipes and things like that.
Nice. Okay, that's good. Great. So you are quite exposed to technology and to the internet.
Yes, because I have my computer and I usually, you know, practice, and I have this little boy that would show me when I want to do something.
Perfect. That's good. That's good. Anybody else wants to share their thoughts? Tell me what you already know about technology.
Good morning, everyone. Well,
Good morning,
the
Ms.
thing
Des.
I know is to download music. I know how to go on Facebook. And I said, no know everything neither. I know how to go on Messenger, WhatsApp, and I just learned how to go on Zoom. And I said, no really know how to go on Zoom. I just learned this man because I get help this morning. Yesterday morning, I get help again this morning.
Okay.
So
that's good though. We keep learning every day.
Yes, ma'am.
There's a lot about technology and not even we know everything. So that's no issues. And I hope that we can help in some way for you to learn a little bit more.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks.
Sure. Anybody else? Any ladies, tell me
Okay,
what you already know.
yes, good morning. I'm more or less in Miss Lillian's shoe, but I don't know how to download music. And just now the Zoom screen went and I didn't know how to bring it back, but accidentally it came back.
So you don't know how it came back?
Yes.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's still there, right? No worries.
Yeah, it's still here.
Yes, Miss Lorraine.
So I do know how to send email, retrieve email, how to go on Zoom. I've been doing Zoom 1 year now. You double click to retrieve on Zoom. What else? I forget.
No problem, no problem. So I am quite impressed with you ladies. Very impressed. A lot of you, or most of you, already have quite an in-depth knowledge of how to use or how to work around the internet, right? So that's very good. That's very good. I think we won't have an issue with proceeding with more in-depth knowledge as it relates more specifically to the applications, right? But that's great. Okay, so like I said, I'm very impressed. I wasn't expecting you all to be that advanced, but it's good to know that you guys are not afraid to learn. So that's great. Okay, so what I want to do to begin this session is to introduce you to the internet, the concept of the internet, because yes, you are versed with using the internet, but how much do you know of the basics, right? For some reason, our children or grandchildren just taught us what we need to know. You know, like just use WhatsApp, because I need to know how to call, how to do a video call, and that's about it. Right? Like my mom, she only knows how to do phone calls. She doesn't know how to message on WhatsApp. Well, at least she could survive. So that is what I want to do today. Give you a little bit more background of what it is you're working with as it relates to the internet, right? It's not just about Facebook. It's not just about WhatsApp. There's much more behind it. If you ladies have any questions throughout the session, please feel free to unmute your mic and ask your question, okay? I don't want us to proceed and have you waiting for an answer. Okay, so another question. What words have you heard being used to describe the internet? How do you refer to the internet? Or how do your grandchildren or your children, friends, how do they refer to the internet?
The web.
Some use modern technology.
Modern technology. Mm-hmm. What other terms?
The web.
the web,
Online?
online, right?
Social media.
Social media, correct. So those are words that common terms that we have heard how other people refer to the internet, right? So we have the internet, the web, you go online, we surf the net. All of those terms are referring to the same concept, which is the internet, right? And what is the internet? Let me just introduce you here to a more advanced description, right? So the BBC WebWise website defined it as a network of computers that works much like the postal system, right? You know, the post office, back then when we used to send letters, no emails, no WhatsApp, no Facebook, we literally had to write letters and send them through the post. So think about it as the postal service, right? Except at sub-second speeds. It's not as slow as the postal service. It's just like lightning speed. That's how fast it is. So what it does, it enables people to send one another envelopes, if I can put it that way, or messages containing messages, pictures, videos, whatever we used to send through the post. And it enables computers to send one another small packages. So the internet allows these computers to send packages from one to the next. And these packages hold information. It could be information. It could be a message, what we send on WhatsApp, right? It could be a video. It could be a document, a Word document or an Excel document, anything that we have digitally, right? So that is the concept of the internet. It allows us to do something similar like the postal service, except faster, okay? And also, some people think of it as a library. You know, when you visit a library, there's so many books around. And all these books all have pages within it, right? And then with the pages, there's certain information. So that is how vast the internet itself is, right? So the fact that it allows us to WhatsApp and to use Facebook and to use Zoom, that's just one of the many different uses that the internet allows us to do every day. So what have you been using the internet for other than WhatsApp and Facebook and Zoom? What other uses have you found for the internet? Tell me, share with me.
I go on it for medication, to see what side effect and different things when I want to know something.
So you search for health information.
Yes, help.
Okay, great. Yes, that's one of the very many uses of the internet. What else have you been using the internet for, ladies?
Miss Lillian here. I use it to look for recipes and sometimes these church program and for hymns. But with this COVID, I usually try to see the recipes and things that are good for you to eat. So I usually go and do that on it.
Okay, great. Miss Lorraine, I see your hand up.
Yes, I do a lot of reading and a lot of research. I downloaded Zoom, like I said, over a year now. So I do a lot of reading. I join Zoom almost twice, almost every day. On the weekends, I do Zoom parties with the Caribbean friends. I do research, medication, massages, oils. I do a lot of research from off the net. YouTube. I use spa music from off YouTube.
Okay, okay. Thank you for sharing. That's a lot of things, yeah. Anybody else wants to share what they've been using the internet for?
Oh yeah, emails, YouTube, recipes, services, church services, prayer services in the evening, research. Yeah.
Have any of you used it to buy something online?
No.
No, even those sales that you see on Facebook, people posting on buy and sell, those pages. Any of you have purchased anything?
Desiree here. No, ma'am, I don't.
Yes, I've done. I bought some stuff already.
Okay.
I was looking at some laptop the other day. I was looking for sales on laptop.
Okay. So it's not that you have not wanted to, it's just you didn't have anything to purchase. Okay. And for the others, why is it that you have not purchased anything online?
Fair.
Fear? Fear of what? Okay.
Because sometimes you do hear of people get scammed.
Right. There's that bad part of it, correct? And it goes two ways, right? It's the seller can be scammed by the buyer and the buyer can be scammed by the seller, right? But would it be because you don't know how to go ahead and purchase it?
Yeah, that too.
That
That's
too?
part two.
Yes. Okay. So that is another process in itself. But nonetheless, it's another thing that we can use the internet for. Do you use online banking? These banks nowadays provide a lot of online banking services. Have you ladies used it for that?
No, ma'am.
Yes.
Ms. Des, you don't use it?
No, ma'am.
No.
I go straight to the bank. Pay bills.
Okay. And there are other organizations that provide online services, correct?
Yes.
And is it because you're not able to use it, Ms. or you just prefer going to the bank?
I prefer go to the bank. In fact, I don't have no money for that.
Well, that's another point, yes.
I was going to say the same thing. The money that we have, you don't need to do online banking. It's from one paycheck to the next paycheck. So,
It doesn't sit in the bank, right?
no, it doesn't sit in the bank.
Okay. Yeah. And the good thing about the silver lining of the pandemic, if I can say so, is that a lot of our public services are being offered online now. We were forced to operate online.
Yeah.
So, and that kind of forced a lot of us to get more comfortable with online banking, filling out applications online. There's a lot to learn, but nonetheless, that's what the internet is for, right? So we're now trying to reap more of the benefits of the use of the internet. And we just need to get a little bit more comfortable with using that, right? But yes, you're right. Not all the services that the internet provides are for us. We don't have to use all of it, right? It's just whatever we want it for. So just to recap what you all shared, which you all were on point, what can we do on the internet? We can get information, right? Like Miss Lorraine, she does research. Many of you get recipes, health information, right? We use it for entertainment purposes. Miss Lorraine, I think it's Miss Lorraine that says she does her Caribbean parties, right? Maybe some of you can do your happy hours. You attend church services online as well.
Yes.
You can use it to sell a product or service. And of course, to get yourself updated with the news, right? So Connected with your family and friends is just one of the many different uses of the internet. You can use it for so many other things. So let's jump into this one. To access the internet, as you all know, we cannot just go outside and go into the internet, right? There's a door to access the internet, and that is what we call a web browser. Okay, so the web browser is the door to access the internet. And here on the slide, I have some examples of the web browsers, of the common web browsers that users use to access the internet. Are you familiar with some of these? So we have here Google Chrome, this first one. We have Internet Explorer, the Mozilla Firefox, Microsoft Edge. And for Apple users, do we have any Apple users here? Any iPhones? Any Apple tablets? Okay, so the web browser for Apple users would be Apple Safari. Okay. So again, these are some of the common browsers that we use to access the internet. So anytime we want to do anything on the internet, of course, we're talking outside of application. We're not talking about opening Facebook just yet, or WhatsApp or Instagram, for example. This is if we want to access the internet itself for, if we want to Google the latest news, for example, or what's happening internationally, what's the status of the pandemic in other countries. We can do that through these web browsers, okay? So let me open here. Let me just share this one here. Do you guys know what the address bar is when we open our web browser? Have you heard of the address bar?
No, I haven't heard about it.
Okay. So the address bar basically displays what we call, the tech people, we call it the URL of our web page, right? And the URL is basically a website's unique name. You know how we all have our unique name? These websites need to have their own unique name as well. And how do we search for these websites and these web pages? By entering that name on the address bar, right? Let me just show you here quickly. How the address bar would look. So here I am using one of the web browsers, which is the Microsoft Edge. Okay. And the address bar is this one at the top, highlighted in blue. This is what we call it. So here is where we enter the website or the unique address for a specific web page. Of course, some of these web pages have a long URL. No need to memorize that. That's the reason why we have what we call links, right? So these links would be tied to a specific word, to a specific name. So you just click on that name and it takes you to wherever it is. Right? Any questions? So far we were good? Okay, so let me go back here to give you a little bit of explanation of anatomy of the
Oh,
website.
a question. A question, please. How do you reach the URL? You know, when you want to go into the website, what do you click on?
How do you get the URL?
Yes.
You can get the URL. Okay, let me.
I open my computer. Let me tell you. And then at the bottom, you'd see Google.
Miss Lillian, you muted your mic. I did not finish hearing what you were saying.
I said, for instance, when I open the open my computer, I would go to Chrome. I
Okay.
go to Microsoft, and then I open it up. So URL, where do I go to get the URL?
So you open Google Chrome.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct. Google Chrome. So I am on Chrome right now.
Yes. Mhm.
You see at the top here,
Yes, that's a download center.
this is the address bar. So here is where you will type the URL.
Okay, so I type in URL at the top of the bar. Okay, thank you.
Type in the URL. Remember, the URL is the address or the unique name of a specific website.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
So let me proceed to just sharing the anatomy of these URLs. Okay? A very, very simple one. Probably most of us are familiar with it. Google.com. That is a URL. Are you guys still seeing my screen? Yes? Okay, great. So here we have the URL for google.com. What this does, it takes us to the Google page, right? So what does it have? If we haven't noticed as yet, we will see that all or most of these URLs will start with HTTP at the beginning, okay? HTTP at the beginning. You don't have to memorize these. This is just, again, to help you understand the concept of what URL is. But that's the HTTP. The second part of the anatomy is the W's. Right? Is the three W's. www. What that stands for is World Wide Web. Again, it's another term for the internet. So that's what the three W's stand for. World Wide Web. The other part of URL anatomy includes the full stops, the dots, the periods. Okay, so what that does, it just separates the different parts of these addresses. You know, like how our name has a first name, a middle name, and a last name. The internet doesn't know how to differentiate between these pieces of information. So what we do when we're entering a URL, we need to put that full stop to indicate to the internet, this is a separate part of the information, right? Every time there's a full stop, it's something different. So that is what the dots mean in the URL addresses. So it separates parts of the address. And then we have the name that identifies the owner of the address or the owner of this website. Owns it. In this case, it's Google. Right? So it's www.google, the owner of the address. And last but not least is the com, right? We always hear .com. And that basically tells us what type of web page we are seeing, right? I'm not sure if some of you have realized sometimes when we go to these pages, it might say .bz or let me .org, .edu, And when Belizeans, for example, create a web page or a website for themselves, it will normally have .com.bz. That in itself indicates that it's something localized, .bz, right? It says, say for example, at UK, that come from. If it has .com.uk, that website comes from the United Kingdom. There's only one country that will not have anything after .com. Which country is that one? Can you take a guess?
USA?
Correct. You will never see a website that says .com.USA. Because they're the ones that created this, so they stayed with this one. So any other country that wants to create a website has to put a .dot and the initial of the country, right? So that will give you an idea. Again, it's just to the last part of it. It tells you what type of web page you are viewing. Is it an American web page? Is it a Belizean web page? If it's .edu.bz, for example, it's an educational web page from Belize, right? So again, that's just to give you an idea of how these URLs are made up, what it's made up of, what purpose for it. It gives all these websites an identity, okay? And just a couple of important points here. A URL should not have any space in between, right? There's no space in between these pieces of information. They're all one after the other. Remember, the only thing that can separate pieces of information in a website is a full stop. And sometimes, let's say, for example, Miss Lorraine wants to create a website with her name, and she wants to call it www.lorraineball.com.bz, for example, right? And she wants to put a space in between Lorraine and Ball. When it comes to URLs, we cannot literally just press the space bar or tap the space bar to make a space. A lot of the users would, what they would do is put www.lorraine_, which is a line below. So it will be Lorraine_ball. Right, so that indicates there's a space in between that name or whatever name is on the URL. Okay. And with URLs, we need to make sure that we have the correct address. So back then, when we used to, the postman used to take letters or mails to our house, they needed to have the correct address for the message to reach the appropriate receiver or the recipient. If we have the wrong address, it takes it to wherever it thinks it should go. Right? So the same thing happens with URL. We need to make sure that we have the correct one so that it takes us to where we want it to go. Okay, so Google is one of the most common URLs we use. But any questions regarding this part before we proceed? Let me just take a little bit of water here. Okay, so this is, again, as I mentioned, it's just the anatomy of the URL. But the internet is so smart. It doesn't expect us to know all these URLs. So what it provided to us are what we call search engines. Do you know what search engines are, or do you have an idea of what it does, ladies? Tell me, share with me. What do you think search engines are for?
If
Yes, Miss.
if we're looking for something specific, then we could type in the word and then it should pop up.
Okay, right. So search engine basically helps us to search the internet. Right? It's like this, again, we walk into this library and we don't know where to start from to get the information that we want. But we know what we want, right? We know why we walked into that library for. That's what the search engine does for us. It helps, it's like the librarian. It helps us and it guides us to where we want to end up eventually. So let me just share here with you what search engines are about. So as I mentioned, the search engines help you to search the internet. The search engine itself is a website, right? And there are some common search engines, and I'm pretty sure you all know at least one or two of them. So let me introduce you to some of these common search engines. Anyone looks familiar? Have you seen any of these around or have used
Google.
Google?
Yahoo.
Yeah,
Google.
Yahoo.
Bing. Yes, these are most of the common search engines that we have around, right? And these keep changing. Back when I was going in school, when I was going to school, I think we have, the most common one was ask.com. We didn't know about Google. We didn't know much about MSN. It was mostly ask.com and Yahoo. But now everything is just Google, right? And that just comes about because are you familiar with Facebook and how the same owner of Facebook owns WhatsApp and owns Instagram?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what happens. Eventually, I'm not sure, could happen. Facebook will take over Google too. And instead of Google, it will be, I don't know, Facebook search, right? It keeps changing. But for now, this is what we have. These are most of the common search engines. So Google, we have Yahoo, we have Bing, MSN, and Ask.com. And to reach to these search engines, we need a URL, correct? But we don't really know what's the URL for these search engines. So let me, okay. So by default, if you are using the Google Chrome browser, by default, it takes you to the Google search engine, right? So again, the internet is continuously evolving, so it's adapting to the users. It makes it easier for us to use the internet. So if you notice here, I went to Google, to Chrome, which is Google Chrome. It owns Chrome, and it took me to the search engine Google. Okay. So let me just open here a new page. Okay. Up here, remember, up here we have what we call the address bar. And then this is where we have the search engine, this part where it says search Google or type a URL. Right, so this is what we call the search engine bar. Here is where we can search. Okay, so as Ms. Lorraine said, you just need to know what you want to search. A term, a word, and you enter it into the search engine. So what the search engine does, it searches the internet for the information that's as close as possible to what you want to search, or what you are looking for. So the idea of using a search engine is to enter as much information as you can onto that search engine so that the internet will give you pretty much exactly what you're looking for, right? So let's say, for example, I want to know what's the latest news, latest international news, right? So I will type, what do I want to know? International news. And then as I go entering that information, you notice that Google gives me what it calls suggested searches, what Google thinks you're looking for. So I look at it and I'm like, okay, international news, but what kind of international news? Do you want today's news? Do you want it in English? Do you want newspaper? Do you want channels? I want today's international news, right? So I select international news today. And what it does, it just gives me, okay, what Google thinks or could find in the internet, in the World Wide Web. So based on the results, I go searching. Maybe I don't really, I wanted international news today for the USA. I'll just type in USA there. And you'll notice that it narrows my searches now to just in news that is related to the US. And based on the results, you can either look for what you're looking for. If you have a preferred news outlet you want to get the news from, for example, BBC, you have USA Today. We have Router, how you say that name. So again, you go searching for what is, if this is not enough, probably you want to add another term here. Maybe it's related to politics. You're into politics, right? So we go ahead and make our search a little bit more specific to what it is we're looking for. And this is how the search engines work, right? And I'm pretty sure you guys know how to, or most of you know how to use this, because for you to be able to look for health information or the news or recipes, for example, I mean, you need to be able to search these things, right? So you guys have a lot of practice already when it comes to these searches or search engines. Okay. Let me change this back to my PowerPoint presentation. Any questions on search engines? You guys are, like I said, you amaze me with your level of skills and knowledge that you have regarding the internet. Okay, ladies. No questions, we're good?
Okay.
Okay, let's just proceed to this other one. So basic email. Do you ladies know how to raise your hand on the, let me see if I can share my meeting controls here. Okay, let me remove the screen.
And improve quality of life. So it's good that.
Okay, yes, Miss Iris. I see you. No, that's not Miss Iris. It's Corinne, I think.
Yes, I wanted to know how
to put emails in files after I've read them. For example, all the emails that have to do with recipes, maybe all the emails from a particular family member and so on.
So that will be putting emails into different categories or folders based on the
Correct.
right? Okay. Ladies, anything else you want to know about emails? Because from what I understand, a lot of you already know the basic of emails. Send, receive. That is what I will classify
Yes.
basic email use, right? How to send.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Yes, Ms. Dave, tell me.
So if you could do the same thing on phone the way you do on computer, because I never gone on no computer, someone know if you could do the same thing you do on phone, if you could do it on computer.
Okay, so you already know how to do it on the computer though, right?
No, ma'am, but just the phone, that's why they ask this question. If the same thing you do on the phone, if you could do it on computer.
Mm-hmm.
If the same, I mean, if you say the same way you do it on computer, you could do it on phone.
Yeah, you can. You would like to know how to do it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, you can do that. As long as you have the app, what we call the application, yes, you can do that. Okay. I'll look and
excuse me, what are the application?
the application, it's like a program, and we'll look into that throughout this week. It's a program that allows you to access the internet without having through the web browser.
Okay, okay.
I will show you that eventually.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anybody else, ladies, anything else you want to learn about email other than just sending and receiving? Because
okay, I have a question. How to save, like you have an attachment that comes with an email?
Mm-hmm. How to save the attachments?
Yeah.
Okay, saving attachments. Good. Okay. Keep it coming, ladies. Keep it coming. What do you want to learn? Remember, this is your space, right? And I'm here to help you learn. So I don't want to be teaching things that you already know. Right? I want to ensure that you all are taking advantage and making use of this space at a time. Right? Yes, Ms. Lorraine.
It's not a question. I just wanted to repeat. Even if you are saying or teaching us things that we all have already learned, what it's doing to me is sinking confidence, like giving me that confidence and the boost that yes, I can do this.
Okay. I like that. I like that. No, you're giving me the confidence that I'm doing the right thing.
Yes, of course.
It goes both ways. It goes both ways.
Yes.
Okay, okay, great, ladies. So let me proceed then into what I have here so far. Okay. Emails, right? I'm pretty sure we all have an email address. Did any of you create your own email address?
No.
Oh, mom, my sister helped me.
Yes,
yes, yes.
Somebody helped
my
you to
daughter,
create your email.
Yes, my daughter helped me.
Okay, Miss Patsy, you created your own? That's great.
I think so. I can't remember.
Okay. Do you remember why you had someone or why you needed an email address?
To correspond with friends and family.
Okay, to send and receive emails, right?
Yeah.
And for the bills.
For your bills, that's right. Email address.
When I joined Facebook, I needed an email address, so my daughter did one for me.
Correct. You needed an email address for Facebook.
I needed one because of the organization that I were in, and they were giving you the reports of the meetings in email. So I had to create one to receive the mails.
An email, right? So those are some of the common reasons why we need an email address. Back then, like, well, as far as I could remember, when I was going to school, an email was mostly just to receive an email and send email. But now the use of an email has evolved. It's more like what we call a unique ID for us.
Yeah.
Right? Out here, we have our social security card, we have our voter's ID, our driver's license. So that identifies us. So whenever we're doing banking, if you're opening an account, you have your social security card or you have an ID to identify you. Over the internet, we don't have that, but we have an email address. I can remember an email address like the URL is very unique and very specific. No two persons can have the same email address. As soon as you're trying to enter an email address that someone already has, it tells you that username is already in use. Create another one, right? Because it's our ID, it's our identity. It's what the internet uses to recognize or to give us an identity out there in the web and the internet. That is very vast. But so the use of email has different purposes, right? It's basically an electronic way to send or receive personal or business related, like Ms. Lillian. She had to create an email for business purposes. And we can send text and pictures, right? No postage stamps required this time. So I guess you guys have an idea, you ladies have an idea of how this works, right? How the email works. Before, we used to send and receive letters, have to go to post office, pay for it. I'll probably wait like a couple of weeks to receive the post, depending on how far you're sending it, right? And you had to have a receiver and it had to have a sender. Just like sending an email, you have to have someone's email address to send them an email, to send them a message, right? And the good thing about the emails is that you can send it to anyone in the world as long as they have an email address. And it's as quick as long as they have internet access, they can access that email immediately, right? And of course, it is based on this internet as well. It's based on the speed of the internet as well. I'm not sure if you ladies can recall, before, I think it was only BTL that was providing internet service. There was no smart or these cable companies that offer internet services. We didn't have that back then. And the internet was very expensive. It was, I recall, again, back when I was going to school, trying to use the internet, and it was connected to some interconnection with the phone line, and whenever the phone would ring, my internet would just get cut off. But thankfully, at this time, the internet, it's because of competition as well, right? There's competition between these internet providers. It's more affordable. I won't say cheap, right? It depends on people's income, but it's more affordable for us to have access to internet. And some of these providers give you access to the internet for $1. And it has that possibility, allows us, the accessibility to at least access our email or check Facebook a little bit, or make a quick phone call or WhatsApp call to our families or friends, right? So that is how the internet has facilitated a lot of the different things for us. It has changed our lifestyle in how we communicate, but it comes with its benefits if we want to look at the positive of it, right? So For you ladies who had someone create your email address, let me just share with you the anatomy of your email address, right? What it's made of, what do we have there? So I'll just take an example here of jsmith@gmail.com. Do you all have Gmail accounts? Gmail?
Yes,
Yes, I do.
Okay, any Yahoo?
yes.
No.
I have Gmail, Miss Lillian.
Miss Lynn, you have Gmail, okay. Because we have Yahoo email, we have Outlook email. Gmail is it's one of the most common email services provider because one, it is free, and two, it is very user-friendly, right? You ladies that have access to your email and when you send and receive, it's very, very user-friendly. Like it's not that confusing. Right? There are some email service providers that make it a little bit difficult for us to play around on the computer with it. And it has a lot of different features, right? Like, you know, Miss Patsy is asking about attachments. I think it was Miss Corinne that was talking about archiving these emails, right? So we have these features free of cost. That is the reason why Google email services is one of the most common ones. And it works along with a lot of these different applications, right? We use our Gmail to open a Facebook account. And we use that Facebook account to open a WhatsApp account. Right? So everything is just tied to that email address. And we will look at internet safety eventually, because that is our identity. And just like how we protect our social security number and our personal information, we need to keep our email address and our password safe as well, right? Because that is our identity. Imagine if somebody gets access to that, they can impersonate us and they can do everything else that we've been doing on the internet and much more, right? So we need to keep that safe, but we will look at that eventually, right? So just before we end the session, I want to share with you again, ladies, what your email address is made of. Okay. So the first part is your username. Okay. So that is what you will use to identify yourself. In this case, we have J. Smith. A lot of the people use their names as username. One, because it's easier for us to remember. And two, it's easier for people to know that that email address belongs to us, right? So it gives you an idea. This email address belongs to some J. Smith, John Smith, Jeremy Smith, right? So we use the first part of the email address is your username. The other part, would be this @ sign, right? That's the A with the incomplete circle around it. So that's the @ sign. That is, again, this what separates your username from the email service provider, right? So you have J. Smith @ and the last part of it is what we call the domain name. In other words, who owns that internet service? In this case, it's Gmail. So Gmail is short for Google Mail, right? So again, with this internet, it has a lot to do with business. Google owns Google Chrome, which is the web browser, the door to the internet. It owns Google Search, which is the search engine, and it owns Google Mail, right? So in a way, it's good because then we just need to have one email address to access all these services. So we have jsmith@gmail.com. Right, so when we are entering an email address, all of these parts are necessary. this is what makes the email address complete. If we enter a wrong username or an incomplete username, or if we misspell the domain name in this case, your email will either be sent to the wrong person or it will bounce back. I'm not sure if you guys any time experience when you send a letter and it says return to sender because the post office wasn't able to find the recipient. Right? So the same thing happens with Gmail. If we enter the wrong domain name, your email will just bounce back to you. Right? So that means something went wrong. We don't have the correct address. And then just some last tips when working with emails, right? The email addresses are not case sensitive. So in this example, if you notice the J for J Smith is capitalized, whether it's capital or lower caps, it doesn't make any difference. It will still go to the same person, right? So if you see any email address that has a capital letter, it doesn't matter if you put it capital or not when you're entering the email address, right? It understands that it's the same person. So most of them will be lowercase. Most of them will be lowercase, right? Okay. So that brings us to the end of today's session, ladies. It was quite fun. You guys, I love that you are very participant.
Yes, ma'am.
And it went quite fast. So we're having fun, it goes fast.
Yes, yes.
Right. So tomorrow we'll be looking at these points that you ladies had asked me for assistance in archiving emails, the assurance of how to send and receive emails, retrieving attachments and saving those. And also, if time permits, we will proceed into different applications, right? We still have 3 more days, so we have
a question here from Miss Lillian.
Yes, Miss
I
Lillian.
noticed it's marked recording. How do I receive this recording if I want to share it with someone else?
What will happen is I will save the recording and I will send it to Miss Spot or Miss Rivero, and they will ensure that you receive the recording. I'm pretty sure it will be either through email. Okay. Based on how they communicate with you, it's probably going to be email.
All right. So I was wondering how I get it. So I would get it through email.
More than likely. If it changes, I'm pretty sure they will let you know.
Because, I'd like to share with some of my other colleagues from the group that I'm in.
Yes, definitely. The only thing is if, when we're sending packages,
yes,
same thing happens with these. The recording, because of the time of the session, it may be a little bit too big to send via email. So
okay,
I don't know we can send it though, but
all right.
We will be reaching out to you for sure.
Okay, thank you. I enjoyed the session today.
Yes,
thank you,
Miss
ladies.
Thank you. Thank you.
So keep in mind that you will be contacted for your mentor in the event you want further assistance with these what we're going through. We're not doing much right now because this is more, again, the introductory pathway. It's leading towards the more, a little bit more complex digital knowledge that we're going to be looking at for the rest of the 3 days. But thank you, ladies. You have all been great so far, and I hope we continue this dynamic for the rest of the week, okay? You all
Thank you so much, Ms. Delsey. I was listening and very informative for sure. Ladies, before you leave, I still need a few numbers. Miss Lillian August, can you please give me your contact number so that we can have the mentor reach out to you?
Sure, Mom. My number is 633 3706. I have a house phone also.
Okay, well, your cell should be fine.
Okay, thank you.
We have someone on as Galaxy J7 Prime. Can you please give me your name? Who's logged in as Galaxy J7 Prime?
Pretty quickly, but we indeed were in the relationship. He claimed it and I claimed it. So we move forward.
Anybody? Nobody knows who that is?
Pregnant. So with the bug being planted in my ear, I went
You will see your name right there on your screen, so you'd know if it's you that I'm referring to.
I was pregnant. I found out I was pregnant July 15th.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. He never questioned, never done.
So if you don't, I'll call everybody's name, and if you don't hear your name, then that's probably you. Miss Corrine, Miss Berta, Miss Lillian, Miss Patsy, Miss Desiree, Miss Lorraine, Miss Elda. Is there somebody on that I did not call their name? Someone whose name I didn't call, you could just tell me your name.
We're not. What relationship did
I don't think, okay, can everybody just say hi to me or say bye to me before you leave? So unmute your mic and then everybody say bye.
Bye.
Okay, so that's Miss Lorraine.
Bye.
Yes.
Next
Bye.
person,
Bye.
Miss Lillian. Bye, Miss Lillian. Next person.
Desiree.